emotions. I wonder if you can remember as a child playing the board game Snakes and Ladders. There was a kind of excitement of getting a dice and a little container, giving it a shake and hopping along the squares till you got to the ladder and whoosh, up you went, covering squares and rows ahead of you. But then there was always that trepidation and danger that you'd land on a snake and be whooped down to the bottom once again. Snakes and Ladders was a family fun game that years ago brought entertainment. But thinking about it a little deeper, life can be a bit like a game of snakes and ladders. There are ups and there are downs. And if you're somebody who just goes through life when things are always on the down, you start to look down and feeling a little bit of despair. You know, those days when you get up in the morning and you stub your toe on the side of the bed and you go to the bathroom and the boiler's not working. You look out of the window and it's pouring down with rain. You think, oh, it's going to be a bad day today. And that cloud of gloom hangs over you. Opposite that, perhaps, is the day when the sun is shining and you feel that sense of excitement. Yes, today is going to be a good day. And all of us run those gamut of emotions, the ups and downs of life. And our personality can sometimes determine how that day is going to be, how the week is going to be, and how life in general is going to be. I tend to be a person who likes to keep things kind of like in the balance. I don't like too many bad days where things are going down all the time. And I'm realistic enough to imagine that life cannot not always be on the mountaintop. There's a sense in which we go through those emotions and different days bring different experiences. The things we may hear on the news, we may get through a social media post or a text or a comment somebody will write, and we'll feel those emotions and respond to those emotions in different way. We climb up and we go down, and such is life. The experience of the Old Testament King David is one of a life full of mixed emotions. Saul, who is the king in the land, is in pursuit of David. He's chasing after him. And David finds himself on some days hiding out the way in a cave or being on the run to different places. And in one instance, he writes down some of his thoughts. And particular in Psalm 40, he sits down and you can almost imagine him reviewing his day or reviewing his time. He says, I waited and I waited and I waited, and the Lord heard my cry. Patiently I waited for him and he responded to me. He lifted me up out of the pit of despair, out of the mud and the mire, and he set my feet upon a rock. He put a new song in my heart, which was a song of praise. And I wanted, and I did, trust the Lord. And people round about knew who put their trust in him. He talks about his experience of thinking when God is there for him and when he feels that God is far away. And sometimes as we go through life, we may equally think, where is God? Why doesn't he hear me? Where is he when I'm going through this time of despair? We feel as though praying is difficult. We feel as though life is an uphill task. I don't know what you are going through at the moment. I hear the news just as well as you do, and we respond to that in different ways. Yesterday I was out at the farm shop near to where I live, And I went to the lady at the flower counter and I said, could you just put me together a couple of stems, a little bouquet of flowers that I can give them to somebody as a thank you. And when I went back to pick them up, she said, I've put a few extra ones in for you because I noticed you wasn't your usual chirpy self. Life can be, and often is, very difficult. And we ride that roller coaster of emotions. We cannot always be on the up, and I hope that we're not always in despair. David says, Psalm 40, I waited patiently for the Lord. I waited, and he heard my cry. Take a moment to think about asking God for help. Take a moment to think about saying thank you to God for his help. And you never know, the ups may be better than the downs. Emotions.